Hello, everyone. Welcome to Enterprise Unleashed, Business Law and Innovation with experienced business strategist and trial attorney Richard P. Corey. Richard prides himself on striving to maximize his clients' desired outcomes in both transactional and litigation settings. I'm Sean O'Connor, and this is part two of a very special couple of episodes. We have, of course, Richard, and as well, we have a House of Representatives member, Madinah Wilson Anton. Good to see you here again.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. I'm looking forward to part two of our conversation, and I know, Richard, you were going to segue into around the TED Talk.
Originally, this episode we were supposed to talk about partnerships and a bunch of more boring legal stuff, but this is what happened. I am all about pursuing my dreams. I mean, I branded my law practice as an enterprise because the definition of an enterprise is systematic, purposeful activity. I'm sure you've heard me say that multiple times on the show. And one of my dreams, I always wanted to do a TED Talks. And one of the first TED speeches I ever saw was while I was in law school. And I actually quoted the gentleman in my first book. And so TED's a big platform, and it's really meant for innovative thinkers. The first time that I applied to do a TED speech, I was in law school, and it took 13 years for me to finally get the opportunity. So I applied and was given the opportunity to speak at TEDx Ocala, where the show was November of 2025. And I'll tell you, this was one of the coolest experiences of my entire life, because not only, aside from getting up on stage, it teaches you a lot about yourself. So I had the general topics that I wanted to talk about, and over the course of, my audition, which eventually got me the spot, there's the 15 speakers, but then how it molded throughout the practicing and getting everything, because there's zero margin for error up there. You have one shot to make a wonderful impact. So my topic was the structure of success. Well, I was applying legal reasoning on how to implement that into everyday life and essentially manifest your dreams. So I live in South Florida. I live in Fort Lauderdale, and I'm driving up to Ocala for our dress rehearsal. It was tough for me to get away beforehand. So I'm driving up there. I'm hitting traffic. I'm hungry. I was hangry. And so I'm late, very late. And then so I was like, man,
very late.
Extremely late.
Your Honor, let the record show he was very late.
Thank you, Madinah.
Almost too late.
So I'd never met Madinah before. I had no idea who she is. I'm just in there. I'm kind of going so I don't forget my my portions. I had to get up on stage and not mess this up. So I come sneaking into the auditorium, and Madinah's on stage. So I'm kind of sneaking in, but I'll tell you what, she immediately caught my attention, and she was hilarious. I did not expect to hear some of the jokes that I heard on stage, especially at TEDx. The way you were able to combine comedy with everyday, something that everyone can relate to. I thought that was amazing. So let's talk a little bit about how it felt for you to, get up on stage and do your TED experience.
Madinah, before you jump in there, I just want to the imagery of, and maybe you'd speak to it, of being on stage and having Richard sneak in is so evocative to me of being on stage at a club and an audience member comes in late, and inevitably they get roasted often. I'm wondering if your comedic instincts, kicked in there, but go ahead.
No. So I will say I was incredibly nervous, more nervous than I am when I do comedy. More nervous than I hadn't been that nervous in a long time. And I think a big part of it is, like you said, Richard, there's no room for error, right? You're giving a speech that you've written and that's been reviewed by your coach and other coaches and edited and revised over and over, and you're really supposed to keep it to exactly what you wrote. And so the pressure was on to remember it the way that it had been written and approved by the team while also feeling natural and funny. And I don't know if I told you this, Richard, but I took the train
Yeah,
to
you did
Florida.
tell me. Remember we had dinner at
Yeah,
I took
yeah,
the
I took the
where
train.
from, from Orlando, or you're like, no, from Delaware. I was like,
Yeah, so I was on the train for about almost 24 hours. I took the train from Delaware to DC, and then DC to Jacksonville, and then I took a connecting bus from Jacksonville to Ocala, and then I took an Uber from that spot to the hotel, and the hotel was like, "Oh, you wanted an early check-in? We didn't get that notice." And so I was just like in the lobby of the hotel for a few hours for them to get the room ready. So I was running on really low sleep. In addition to all that, the guy a couple rows behind me on the train had sleep apnea for sure,
oh, that
undiagnosed
must be
sleep
nice.
apnea. So in like the middle of the night, somewhere between like North Carolina and Jacksonville, I was just like, I can't sleep. So I was really nervous performing. And I think I actually forgot, like I got stuck at one point during the rehearsal, and couldn't remember where I was supposed to go. And then like I think I skipped some of it or something. So I didn't notice Richard coming in late. I just was like, I remember I finished, I went and sat down. I think I sat in the
Right
same
next
row
to
as
me.
you.
You sat next to me. I'm like, hey, what's
Yeah,
up?
and I just was like, I don't know, I'm gonna learn all this by tomorrow.
It's funny. One of the things you said, all our speeches had to be approved. I mean, they're not going to just put anyone up on this platform. So, but me personally, I don't do well sticking to a script. Especially, I typically, I don't like writing things down. Like, I like to just understand the material that I want to say and then just say it. But to Medina's point, we were required to like show exactly what we're doing, just because for obvious reasons.
Which was a really beneficial process though, right? Like
Oh yeah,
I do feel like it was my original speech that I wrote, or talk, I should say. Manal would bop me over the head. Talk. The original talk was completely different than what I ended up delivering in the end. And I think it was much stronger and more evocative than what I originally started with. And that was the revision process. Yeah, but I'm the same way. I'm more of like a freestyle kind of.
yeah. Well, another thing too was the timing. You have to keep it in, like if you allow me to talk, I could talk all day.
Yeah,
I could have been up there for 2 hours, and people are gonna be like, "All right, get off. It's time to go
yeah,
now." But
yeah.
you're saying how you were nervous. I don't typically get nervous. I've been on stage a lot. I've been in court a lot. I'm played as a musician my entire life. But that day in practice, I don't. Same thing happened to me. I don't know if you remember. I kind of froze up because I said
Yes,
something and it like
yeah.
threw me off, and I was just like,
Well, because you're trying to stick to a script, right? Like that doesn't happen when it's just natural. When you feel like you've got to stick to something and then you can't remember the next line, that's when it's a problem. And I've had that experience with comedy. Like when I first started, when my first one of my first gigs that I got, I wrote my set list out and I was like, I'm gonna do this joke and then this joke and then tie it to that joke and then this joke and then this joke. And when you get to the middle and you can't remember the next joke, then you're just standing there like, what's the next joke? And so over time, I found that the best method for me at this stage in my career is to know what I'm going to start with and what I'm going to end with and just have fun in the middle. And so sometimes I might, if I'm third up and the first person mentions hot dogs and I have a hot dog joke, I might be like, oh, I'm going to add my hot dog joke and I'm going to call back to their hot dog joke. But besides that, I try to give myself space to just have fun and feel it out, because when I feel like I'm following a script, it does make me more rigid, and I feel less adept at pivoting and being flexible in the moment.
Yeah, so that was I mentioned this earlier. That was the theme. So all 15 speakers for this TED event. It was a wonderful event. Every single person on that stage put in a lot of work and presented a wonderful, like very valuable talk, not speech. It's a TED talk. It was a packed house. I don't know how many people were there, but it was sold out. It was packed.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
For me, the experience of like the day when we practiced, I was there late, and I'm gonna blame it because I hadn't eaten my Snickers yet. You're hungry, grab a Snickers type deal. But I just decided. You and I talked about this at dinner that night because we ended up becoming friendly, and we said it was just let's have fun. Like
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
being worried about going up there like a robot. Go up there and just have some fun. We all
Yeah.
know the material we're trying to do. We're all here because we deserve to be here. I mean, I think she said a couple thousand, if not 10,000 people applied for that particular event. So every one of us, had to go through a rigorous screening process. So everyone there deserved to be there. And once it turned into something fun, then it changed the whole dynamic of it. And would you agree with that?
Oh, for sure. And that's this is, again, like comedy, it's same approach, right? Like the shows that where I've done the best are the shows where I wasn't worried about the stakes. I just was having fun. So much so that one of my best friends, before I would go on stage and I'd be like, oh God, like I'd be like going over my list, this. He'd be like, have fun. And I'm like, right. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
this.
yeah.
I love this. Right. This is like, it is a job, it is work, but I love doing comedy. And so if I go into it with that energy that this is fun and I'm going to enjoy this, then the audience is going to enjoy it as well.
So when you were up there, did you improvise at all? I did.
I did. I honestly, I felt like I went into a fugue state. I got off stage and like some of our cohort members were like, that was great. And I'm like, I have no idea what happened. Like, I don't,
Yeah. You don't know what happened,
yeah, I
right?
was like so in the moment that like once I was
Yeah.
out of it, I was like, I don't know what happened. Yeah.
So I don't know. I
It
don't know
took
if you
me
recall.
weeks to watch it. I
Oh,
couldn't watch it.
I was going to ask if,
I couldn't
did
wait
you
to watch.
watch it? Did you like kind of out
No,
of fear not watch it, or
I couldn't.
yeah?
I couldn't watch it. And like I sent it to my sister and my mom and they were like, that was so good. And I was like, I still can't watch it.
Nah, you killed it. I've watched your show several times. In fact, for our listeners, what's the how do we tell them to watch it? It's I forget the title of your speech.
So you
Yeah,
can find my TEDx talk if you go to my linktree.com/Medina comedy. It's one of the first links there. It's also available on YouTube on the TEDx Ocala YouTube page. Title is Resisting the Pivot.
awesome. Now let me ask you: you saw me do my practice? And
Yes.
there was a couple points, particularly at the end, where it's like, this better hit hard. And I remember because I messed up on the first practice, like, oh man, I can't do that again. But when we got to the actual show, I remember doing it. And I put like a little bow, I had a little swagger to it. And I remember seeing you like, yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was
Because
really
there
cool.
is
That's
that
something I
feeling,
remember.
right? It's like we're part of a team, right? So we all were, I remember the first person who went up, I think it was John who went up first and set the mode for everybody else to like try to hit that same level. And I was like, yo, he knocked it out of the park. And we were all really excited for him. And then like the whole day I was like, come on, are you gonna stick the landing? Are you gonna stick the landing? Because we all know how it's supposed to go, you know? So it's almost like we're hoping that you hit the audience besides us, they
I
have
had
no
no
idea
idea.
what they're in for. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was all the way in the back and I was like, come on, Rich, like stick the landing. And you did. And when everybody it was like that mic drop moment, I was like, yes,
Yeah, buddy. You
let's
know,
go.
you went earlier in the day. And
Yeah.
I think I was second to last or third to second to last. So I had 14 people or 13 people before me.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing all these people knock it out the park. And then like, you're prepping the whole time, but then like, then it's, now it's getting closer for me to go. And I'm like, oh, what was I talking about again? Um, but it was such a great experience. I want to ask you, what advice would you give to, especially younger people, on what the TEDx experience taught you, and how to have people overcome their fears and just believe in themselves and move forward in their passion and follow their dreams.
Oh man, that's
Hmm.
a profound question. I mean,
Wow.
I think like I said, I was super nervous. I was like writing my speech out over and over again on the train, trying to memorize it. My advice would be to not procrastinate as much as I did. And I think I just recently learned this that procrastination, for some people at least, comes from anxiety. Like my whole life, I was like, I don't have anxiety because I thought anxiety meant when you get in front of people, you're shaking, right? Like I had this very simplistic idea of what anxiety was. But I think when I think about why I avoided working on my speech for my talk for as long as I did, it was this feeling like I'm not going to be able to make it as valuable as I want it to be. I'm going to embarrass myself somehow. It's not going to be profound enough. And like, I just was spiraling. And so whenever I would start that process, I would just shut it down and I'd be like, oh, I'll work on something else. Like, it's not till November. And then, pretty soon November's here
Yeah, you blinked your
and
eye.
you're on the
November
train and there's a
7th.
guy with
Yeah.
sleep apnea. You know what I mean? And you're like, why did I wait this long? And so, my encouragement would just be like, you'll be way less anxious over time if you do it piece by piece earlier on. And that's something that I have taken from the experience. But also that, the more people you involve that share your values, that have diverse experience along the way, the stronger the project is in the end. And I really appreciate my coach, Tanya, because her input that she gave me early on really shaped the direction that I took the talk in. And it was her different lived experience that was able to give me that perspective. And yeah, I'm super grateful for the experience. Every time that we practiced on Zoom to a listening audience was beneficial. And I would sweat, like I would be dripping in sweat from the anxiety of like, well, how is this going to go? And are they going to think it's corny or, and it was every single time the feedback was incredibly valuable. So I would just say push through that anxiety. And the earlier you work on it, the less stressful it will be.
What you were just talking about, every time we practice, we had to practice in front of like a panel of people. They were either coaches, they're all affiliated with the TEDx Ocala team, and other. I don't know if there was other TEDx people there, but I think it was all TEDx Ocala. But you got perspectives that allowed you that you wouldn't understand. Like for me, a lot of what I got, at least early on, was you need to dumb it down. It sounds really smart, but you're using a lot of big words. And, I don't have any idea what you just said. And they didn't mean it like condescending, but they're trying to help me. So the way that my talk, and I'm sure the same thing with yours, Madinah, it evolved over the course of time. And one thing that both of us have in common, because we successfully completed the mission, is we continued to work at it. We continued to put in that work. There is no substitute for preparation. You have to put in that hard work. And when you do that, the end result is going to be what I saw when you took the stage. Let me tell you something. Your talk was phenomenal. And what I loved about it is it was like a mixture of serious, but it was borderline stand-up.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was feedback I got from coaches because it started off much more serious. I don't know if I had a single
That's
joke.
not who you are. I mean, you are serious, but I'm saying you have a natural God-given ability to make people laugh. So you had the room cracking up. You had me cracking up.
Yeah. I mean, and that was the fun part for me. Because I do struggle with written speeches with like rigidity. So when I got the feedback from one of the coaches on Zoom that day to put more jokes in, I was like, I can do that? That's allowed? Like, I would love to do that. Because I think originally some of the advice was to not just, like, there's supposed to be an idea we're sharing, right? So it's not just stand up. And that was an interesting experiment for me to figure out, how do I weave in my material in a way that doesn't distract from the message that I'm trying to send.
Sure.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Madinah, I never told you this, and I want to thank you for it. So I didn't really know anybody. So Madinah, like I met her. We had a dinner afterwards. We sat together. So it was like you were like my buddy for the the course of the event. But everyone there was rooting each other on. There was no competition. It was like a team thing. It was like a family. It was really cool. But part of what you inspired me to do, just through like talking with you, is when I actually did the final one, the real one. I wasn't afraid to, throw a couple of my own jokes in. Like I said things like improv, and I was able to get a good result. Like I had the audience. I mean, they landed. Those are one of those things where like, I hope this better land. And it landed. Thank God. Like it could have been bad, but no, it worked out well. But I wanted to thank you for inspiring me to be more comfortable with my authentic self and go up there and just have some fun. And, I thought that was really cool how everyone was just supportive of each other and just wanted to see everyone succeed.
It's really, really refreshing. Because I'm from up north, so I didn't have people in the audience for me, and it was really, really nice to have the cohort for one be there to support each other. But then even afterwards, like people were like going and like talking to their family members and taking pictures and stuff, and I was just kind of like, I'm just here. And you came over and you were like, this is my family and this is Medina. And then
Yeah, I
Jeannie
was so excited. I was like, yeah, you gotta meet Medina. You gotta meet Medina.
yeah. Jeannie was like, hey, you want to come out and eat lunch with us? And I was like, yes. And like it just really felt like family, which was really nice. So, I appreciate that. And it's been fun hanging out with you guys and talking about the experience. And I would just encourage your listeners to check out Rich's because this was really good.
I appreciate
Yeah.
Richard, where's your, I know you're, obviously it's on the TEDx Ocala site. Is there another spot where people can?
If you YouTube Richard Corey TEDx talk, it'll pop up. The
Great.
title of my talk is the structure of success. And I also have a link to it on my Instagram and on my website. So I'd love for you guys to check it out. I put my heart into it. It's something I worked on, just like Madinah. We worked on this for a very long time, and I don't think people understand the amount of work and the amount of preparation, dedication that went into this. We're talking about hundreds of hours over the course of several months, and it was overall just a great experience. So, listen, Madinah, before we end it, I know we got to end this episode pretty quick. But are you doing any shows down in South Florida anytime soon?
I don't have any Florida dates on the schedule right now.
I'm gonna come see.
Gotten some requests to come to Orlando, so I'm gonna see if I can make that happen in the next 6 months. But in the meantime, you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, at Madinah Comedy. And follow me, and I post all my upcoming shows. I'll be in New York City in the next week, and then I'll be back in Delaware, and then I'll be in Rhode Island. So mostly up in the Northeast right now, but hopefully we'll make some Florida stops soon.
Yeah, maybe let's see what I could do to, if I can help you out a little bit. I'd love to see you down here, and we'll pack it. We'll pack the place out. So look, I can't wait to see all the wonderful things that you're doing in your career. I know you're just getting started. You're a huge inspiration for anyone who has the pleasure of meeting you, including me. So it's been an honor. Look, you're consider me a friend for life. You're stuck with me. So I just want to thank you for coming on the show, and we'll be in touch. So that's it for today of Enterprise Unleashed. Sean, you want to get us out?
What an honor, really. What a great conversation to eavesdrop on, more or less. And, for younger people who are, my takeaway is, you've got some dream, you don't have to do it alone. You guys were speaking to the support that you found yourself being held by, the cohort of people and the coaching. And I think, any goal the campaign to get elected to, a successful law practice, nobody does it on their own. And I think an individual with a dream feels like, speaking for myself, like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? It's like, you're not going to do it. You're going to do it with other people. So super inspiring. And that's it for today. You've been listening to the Enterprise Unleashed podcast, Business Law and Innovation with attorney Richard P. Corey. We've had a special guest here, Madinah Wilson Anton. I'm Sean O'Connor. Be sure to like, be sure to follow, be sure to tell your friends so you don't miss any episodes. Have a great day. Bye-bye.